In January of 897 CE, Pope Stephen VI ordered the body of his predecessor to be dug up, dressed in full papal vestments, propped in a chair in a courtroom, and put on trial for heresy. The corpse had been in the ground for 9 months. The predecessor in question was Pope Formosus, who had died in April 896. Stephen VI had various political and theological grievances against Formosus, chiefly that Formosus had crowned Lambert of Spoleto's rival as Holy Roman Emperor, and that his ordinations were canonically invalid because he had previously served as Bishop of Porto before becoming Pope, which Stephen contended was forbidden. Rather than simply reversing Formosus's decisions, Stephen chose to put him personally on trial. The scene in the papal courtroom has no real parallel in the history of Christian institutions. The exhumed body was dressed in the robes of the papacy. A deacon, a young cleric, presumably terrified, was appointed to speak for the dead pope and answer the charges on his behalf. Pope Stephen, by surviving accounts, screamed at the corpse throughout the proceedings. He mocked it. He pointed at it. The smell in the room was considerable. The verdict was never in doubt. Formosus was found guilty. The vestments were torn from the body. The 3 fingers of his right hand that he had used to perform ordinations were cut off. The corpse was thrown into a common grave, then retrieved and thrown into the Tiber River. The spectacle horrified Rome. Popular outrage was immediate and intense. Pope Stephen VI was seized by a mob, stripped of his own papal vestments, thrown in prison, and strangled within months. The Cadaver Synod was declared null and void by the next pope. The body of Formosus was recovered from the Tiber by monks who had seen it floating downstream, and it was reinterred with full honors. The episode was politically motivated, a proxy war between factions of Roman aristocracy fighting over influence in the Church and the Empire, but it transcended its origins and became something stranger, one of the most purely Gothic events in the history of any major institution. The detail that lodges in the memory is not the verdict or the mutilation, but the image of the young deacon, standing beside a decomposing body in full papal robes, answering charges on its behalf in a room full of people pretending this was a normal legal proceeding. Someone had to do it. Someone did.